All right, welcome to Liverpool Connection podcast. Liverpool just beat Fulham 1-0. Very tight. A game we were never really in control with. Happy with the 3 points. I'm here with Jono. What's your first impressions on that game?
Well, glad it's over. Second half wasn't, much fun, but hey, win's a win. Five in the trot.
We were all right first half.
Yeah.
Right. I felt like we did okay. I thought Curtis Jones was pretty good in the first half. We made a few chances. Salah looked dangerous, but as the half went on, we never really we never felt like we were in control of that game.
Yeah, for sure. The first 20 or so, I think, again, we looked really dominant. Kind of had them really packed in. Didn't create, though, too many amazing chances. A couple of nearly chances. But like you said, as that half went on, felt like we kind of were like a little bit just kind of, I don't know. They came into it a little more without a couple of chances, I guess.
What about the penalty? Yes.
Yeah, it is.
It was. It was a penalty, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he missed Nunez kind of got the ball, and then the Fulham player missed it at the last second. Nunez made the most of it, but definitely a penalty.
Sure.
I don't know what Fulham were complaining about at half time, but
I think he gets a little knock on his knee, right? A little bit of contact.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't look like much because you're looking for a big whack on the leg or whatever. And sure, he makes the most of it, and it's right in the corner of the box too, which feels a little bit like he's not really going anywhere. But hey, since when do we ever get those? I mean, other teams seem to get them occasionally. I don't know. It's a penalty.
It was a penalty. Salah looked a lot more confident than at the weekend, where I was worried when he hit that. I thought it's going to go over, or it's going to hit the bar.
Yeah,
this one, he looked.
At least a foot under the bar this time.
It felt like the old, classic Salah penalties, where he kind of warmed up to that at the weekend, and then today it was like, bang, okay, I'm going to do what I'm really good at and hit it down the middle, and brilliant penalty. And would you say we go into half-time 1-0, deserved?
Just about, I mean, we certainly, I don't know what the stats were or anything. I mean, didn't feel like we had a ton of shots on goal, but Diaz had looked dangerous the whole half. Probably the most dangerous creative player going, in the game. But we never quite created the perfect chance, but probably just about deserved to be ahead.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. I thought Diaz was very good first half. You've seen, he's been out a long time, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to take him time to get back to the level that he was. But we saw flashes in the first half where he's such a strong player. He's so powerful. He's so dangerous. He makes things happen. And I thought he was probably our best player in the first half.
Yeah, and playing at a different speed, it feels like, to anyone else, really. I mean, just the ball gets to him, and all of a sudden it's like the first few weeks when he came here, and he was just like, electric. The place lit up. The other part I was just thinking about the first half, though, was, and I missed a couple of them apparently, and I missed the first 5-10 minutes. The back line was off, which a couple of times, right, for the offside line, and Simi maybe a couple of times, I think maybe Virgil one time too.
Yeah. Which
maybe you can expect, you bring Simi in, and Robbo has struggled, admittedly, a couple of times, and I think we are going to struggle with that line a bit. It wasn't perfect before we made the change by kicking kind of Trent out of there half the time, and now you're shifting around, to almost a back three. It's probably understandable that you're going to get even more issues with it. So we were lucky a couple of times when we didn't get caught out on that.
Yeah, there was definitely moments in the first half where our back line was pretty easy to get through. Yeah. The one you're talking about where you came to the pub like a couple of minutes after it happened, and it was really early in the first half where Tsimikas was kind of
way
on
behind
his side. It was way too easy for Wilson to get through, and then he could have had a shot, but he passed across the goal, but there was a warning.
Well, you had Simi and Konate both, and you can excuse Konate because he's looking across and thinks, well, if that's where Simi is, I got to be at least in line with him. And then Virgil and Trent, I presume, were on the other side, like 3 yards further ahead of him. Yeah. And so it was way wonky.
So, going to half-time, 1-0, probably deserved on the basis of that first half and the possession that we had. Come out for the second half, and it felt kind of flat. There was and we've seen that. We've even seen that in this run where these victories now, I think it's 5 in a row, we tend to come out a little bit flat, and we did the same today.
Yeah, and as that half wore on, it felt like, come on, we just had this at Spurs that Klopp talked about it, where just because we're in the lead, protecting the lead, you don't do that by just slowing the game down. We have to keep going at this because it's just not going to work. The more slow we get, the more those sloppy passes. I think Virgil tried to roll it into Jones at one point. He was coming backwards and just kind of did it too slow, and Jones almost got caught on it. And it's like, you have to keep that pace up until they are basically done, until you've tired out that other team. And Fulham had stepped up the pace. What they weren't doing first half is they weren't really trying to steal the ball, trying to intercept. And now they're doing it second half when we're still playing at that same pace. We didn't match them.
And I have to give credit to Fulham. And Fulham are a good side. And their position in the league, they've kind of gone under the radar a little bit, but they've done really well this season. And they came out for the second half. Different kind of game plan. There was definitely more energy from them. I think Paulinho and this is no surprise because he's been talked about a lot.
Yeah.
But he's a fantastic player. And I think he was, especially second half, he was the basis for that, and we struggled when we were going forward. We struggled to get through him, and Paulinho was noticeable in the second half, actually pushed up a little bit more as well and was creating problems, getting it through the midfield, getting over to William.
Yeah,
William looked, the fact of how old he is, how long he's been around, he's got some pace in him.
A younger William would have created more for them today. I mean, he was getting in the good positions and was almost there, but they didn't really have the presence up front to be able to really hurt us, thankfully, because they were creating almost chances, but couldn't really, finish those off, thankfully.
And it went like that most of the second half.
Yeah.
We couldn't keep hold of the ball. We didn't have control of the game. There was players, for example, like Curtis Jones, who I thought had a very good first half, and then second half he struggled. He tended to give it away a lot more. It was trying to make things happen, which I like, but it wasn't coming off. And we kept seeing that from a number of players on the pitch, and it became, as the half went on, the substitutions had to happen.
Yeah.
That makes sense with one eye on the Brentford game at the weekend. So those subs that happened early, that made sense.
Well, I think we were missing, in that period especially, I think we were missing Gakpo for holding the ball up. Nunez was pretty non-existent, although I was pretty entertained when he kind of turned himself inside out and forgot about the ball.
I was going to ask about that. So the players that came in, we of course saw Tsimikas came in at left back. Let's talk about Tsimikas and Nunez. But how did the Greek wonder that gets no sleep, how did he do today?
Well, when I showed up, somebody had said to me that he had already kind of, was struggling to hold the line a little bit, and then I saw it myself one time, and so he put a really good cross in, I think, at one point, which you kind of expect for him. That's his strength, right? Just defensively and position-wise, I think, is where he kind of sometimes lets himself down. Robbo came straight in and put a great ball from deep that I thought, okay, now we're up in the tempo, but then that was about it.
And it makes sense to me. I mean, Robbo started a lot of games.
Yeah.
He looked pretty knackered the last game.
Right.
And I wasn't massively surprised that Tsimikas started. I don't think Tsimikas is great. He's okay as a squad player.
Yeah.
I don't think he's good enough for a team that wants to be challenging at the top. Might need an upgrade on that to give some competition to Robertson. Thinking about with the potential of, are we going to stick with this kind of formation with Trent on the right going into midfield when we attack? If we do that, then the left back as competition for Robertson in the summer, you have to have one eye on that, right? A player that maybe is comfortable coming in and playing essentially as a left-sided, third centre back. Right,
and that's something we talked about during the game, is that, and I don't think it's been talked about a lot, to be honest, is that we've talked a lot about the adjustment for Kanate with Trent when Trent's in the midfield, playing essentially as a third centre back. Well, it's just as much of an adjustment for the left back to suddenly be playing more of a centre back role. And Robbo struggled massively against Spurs, and I think Tsimikas, being a similar style of player, one that likes to be down the wing, is probably going to struggle with that just as much. So it will be interesting to see if we look for somebody on both sides, potentially, I mean, although you'd like to think Gomez could play that position if we do have more of a back three more permanently. But
well, that right side, that Gomez is certainly someone that fits that role, you would think, ideally. His question, as the obvious one, is about keeping him fit.
Yeah.
But he certainly, I know there was talk about potentially Gomez being sold in the summer. If we're going forward with this kind of setup, then he's definitely someone that I would keep around. But moving on, Núñez started today, started through the middle. Gakpo got a bit of a break. Gakpo's been outstanding for the last few games. Really looks like a Klopp player. How do you think Núñez did?
Not great, to be honest. I didn't see a lot. It seems like his confidence has taken a bit of a hit from not starting. It's his movement that I find has kind of maybe dropped off a bit. And I've always found him most exciting when it's a team that's pushing up a little and he's out on the left and he's got space to get in behind. That's where I feel like he's been most confident. Today he's in the centre for Gakpo, so it's a different role for him, to be fair, than he's played with us mostly. I didn't find his hold-up play that he was able to do that too much. Although most of the game, I guess we were on top, and then Fulham started coming out later. I definitely felt more comfortable when Gakpo came in, late as it was, that he would be able to do that. And then Núñez, I think towards the very end, he went. Did he go left eventually? No, that was
Diaz,
when Gakpo went.
When Diaz went off, Núñez went left.
Right.
For a little bit.
Yeah, he ended up playing a bit of both.
Well, they had Gakpo, didn't they? When he first made the subs, he put Gakpo
and he left Núñez in the middle.
Kept Núñez in the middle.
Which was interesting.
And then when we made the Jota sub,
then Núñez
came off, and then they switched it up. But yeah, I would agree about Núñez. I think the setup that we have, it's asking for a player that plays at number 9 to come in deep, get the ball, be able to connect different players. He's not really that player.
Right.
He's someone that kind of works as an old school number 9 up front, playing on the last line. That's not really how we play. And he did all right at moments today. He won the penalty, which was the winning goal.
That's true.
So good job there.
Yeah.
But he was all right.
Yeah.
He was okay, and it's going to be a huge summer.
I don't
for him
think.
to see
And I don't think we should judge him too
improves.
much. He's barely had minutes,
Yep.
So, and that was his first time he's played in that 9 position for a long time. I think Klopp clearly wants, if not permanently, that'll be his position. He wants him to be able to come in and play minutes there.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be an adjustment for him, and that's fine, honestly.
But it's another win.
It's
which
a
is
win.
Good.
Yeah.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row. We started
That's
with this change with Trent pushing into the midfield when we attack away at Chelsea. Mm-hmm. And since then, away at Chelsea, Arsenal, we were great first half, then collapsed second half, but then 5 wins in a row since then. And it's working. There's obviously things to work
it's not
on,
perfect.
Right? We're very, very open at the back. Apart from the Leeds game, every other game's been pretty tight. But you can't argue with 5 in a row. Been a bold change by Klopp to make this change so late in the season, but we had to. And it's working.
It's a damn sight better than it was for the season before now. So
take it. And we can, Champions League spot, it looks extremely tough for it to happen. There's still a mathematical possibility. It looks unlikely, but all we can do is, focus on us, win our games, and when whatever happens to the other games,
I expect it'll get a little tighter because I do expect Man United to drop a few more points. They've got Brighton tomorrow away. I could easily see Brighton, winning that or tying. But there's just too many at this point that we need. Yeah. And so, if we can finish strong, finish in 5th, there's a lot of positives Klopp can take from that. He'll have learned a lot. I mean, he's learned a lot about Trent so far, right? Whether his ability to play there. There's still going to be lots of questions to be answered, but it'll inform, a lot about the transfer business we do in the summer.
Yep. Yeah, it really will. We'll know, like you say, we'll have an idea. Those transfers, who we're going to go after. Sounds like McAllister is close, which is good. He would fit right into this. But yeah, the signings that we make, I can never give a massive indication for what and how we're going to play next season. But yeah, roll on. Liverpool 1, Fulham 0.
Rock on.
Good result. We look forward to Brentford at the weekend. And Yeah.
Crush those bees.
Crush
Yeah.
the bees. They're a good side,
Terrible,
Brentford.
terrible, the
Good
bees.
side, Brentford.
Secret
Very
bees
good
fan.
side. So, yeah, we'll wrap it up. One other thing coming next Monday, we have a podcast. So, a story discussion with Jan Mulby, former Liverpool player. So, make sure you watch that. It's fascinating. Listen, really interesting stories about his time at Liverpool. So, make sure you pay attention. Watch that. Turn on your notifications. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. We'll wrap it up. Thanks, BD Rileys. Cheers, Jono.
Cheers, Julian.
Have a good one. Thank you.